If you haven't already, be sure to grab your free copy of my first two books, Frugalpreneur and Authorpreneur, by going to thesarahstjohn.com/free. That's THESARAHSTJOHN.com/free. Now on to the show. Welcome to the Frugalpreneur podcast. I am your host, Sarah St. John, and my guest today is an award-winning business coach, successful entrepreneur, strategist, and best-selling author. He is known as the Online Business Secrets King and helps people build profitable online businesses in record time. He came from Africa to America with only $100. And over the past 7 years, he has started 3 companies from scratch and grew them each to more than 7 figures in revenue with zero funding, including his SaaS company, Vonza.com. Please welcome to the show, Uyi Abraham.
Thank you, Sarah. So good to be here today. Thank you for having me.
I've been looking forward to this interview because I think you have quite an interesting story. Can you give us a little bit more of your story and your background coming from Africa to America with 100 and then how you built a apparently seven-figure businesses with starting with just $100?
I was born in Nigeria, so I was born to kind of a middle-class family. Then when I was very young, my parents, they separated, divorced. So I was raised with my grandma, and then my grandma kind of got blind because of diabetics complications. And so that kind of just threw us into some kind of poverty. So I really experienced a lot of poverty and stuff. And so my dream in life was to be a medical doctor, a gynecologist. And one of the reasons was that I felt like being a medical doctor would help me to escape poverty and be able to make money because I felt like doctors make good money. So I came to America to be a medical doctor, and I started taking some classes in Houston, Texas, actually, Houston Community College at the time. And then after a while, I just kind of fell out of love with medicine. And I felt like the biggest strength in life, my purpose was really entrepreneurship. So when I came to America, I came with just $100 and a suitcase of clothes, just in pursuit of the American dream. And I went through a lot of tough times, temporary homelessness, and all kind of stuff that come when you're an immigrant and you don't have the education, qualification, or even the funding to get started in life. So my very first entry into entrepreneurship was a friend of mine gave me a website template for my birthday. I think that was in 2004. I was like, I don't have a gift for you, but hey, here's a website template. You can build a website for your church or some other stuff. So I built my first website and I said, oh, wow, I can start charging people $400 to be the website. That was in 2004. And that was my very first business. I was a website designer. And from there, I started doing kind of different businesses and until I found my niche, which is really online business. And I started an online business software platform called Vonza.com. So just a little bit introduction how I came to America, $100, and how I kind of get to where I am right now.
So the 3 companies that you grew from scratch, is one of them Vonza.com?
Yeah, Vonza.com.
I'm curious, what were the other 2, and do you still have those businesses?
Yeah, I sold one. I still have one called Higher Place Christian University. It's an online Christian university that was started in 2010 from zero to it's done about 7 figures today. And then Vonza.com. Then the third one, Bloomchase. It's an online marketplace where people come to hire professionals for what they need. So if you need a plumber, a coach, a service provider, can come to the software to hire. It's like Thumbtack, Yelp, type stuff. So yeah, I saw that about 2 years ago. So currently I still have the SaaS platform, Vonza.com, and the Christian University.
I actually used Thumbtack yesterday, so I'll have to check out your...
Yeah, Bloomchase is a competitor direct competitor of Thumbtack.
So I know you talk about the 5 keys to a 7-figure income. Can you go over that?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, sure. I would go over that shortly. Making money online is not as difficult as a lot of people think. It's just about having the right structure, the right information. I was very, very broke. I was very, very lost. So I began to find out the right framework, the right information to become what I am today. So the very first thing I would say is the mantra. And they are going to start with M M as in Mary, mantra. Mantra is the problem that you are solving. So a lot of people think you just show up online and just start making money. It doesn't work like that. You have to have a defined problem that you are solving. And one of the ways I tell people, because people still feel like they say they don't know what problem to solve. I say, start with the problem you have. I started Bloom Chase because I was using Thumbtack and I felt like they were kind of being funny with the way they sell leads. So I felt like that was a problem I had, and I feel like other people have the same problem. So I created a solution for it. They say with Vonza.com, I was just frustrated with using several different tools to run my business. One for email, one for live webinar, one for social media, one for this, one for that. I'm like, why is there not a real all-in-one platform that is really good that can help me run my business online so I don't have to be all over the place? That was how I started Vonza.com. So every business I've ever had was because of a personal problem I had. And I solved that problem for myself. And I saw that the problem was also big enough that other people share the same problem. And then I turned it into a business. So mantra, the first key is, what problem are you solving? Start with your own personal problem. What issues you have? What frustrations you have? What's it out there you feel like somebody should do better than what is currently going on right now? Or somebody's not seeing, or sometimes a new opportunity altogether. When we started Vonza about 2018, people told us I was crazy. They say, why don't you just focus on one simple problem to solve? Why are you trying to do this and have it all in one platform? But I felt like an entrepreneur want to run their business online. They have a problem. The one problem they have is to run their business online. And they need one good platform to do it. They don't need 12 or 13 different platforms, right? So mantra, you got to know the problem you are solving and make sure the problem is big enough, right? So just because you have a problem, a particular problem, does not mean everybody have it, but make sure it's something that is big enough that at least you can have minimum of 1,000 members in a very short while. The second key will be mentorship. Mentorship is key. Learning by experience is not the best way to learn, or is the hardest and the most difficult way to learn. So if you can find a mentor that have done whatever you're trying to do. Now, let's say your online business is in e-commerce. Find a mentor that's made some money in e-commerce. I can show you the easy, the quick way, the framework. Let's say your online business is in online courses. Find somebody that have done it. Maybe it's podcasting. Learn from Sarah and say, Sarah, hey, what's going to require for you to coach me on having a podcasting show or whatever, right? So learn from somebody who has done it before. It's the easiest trick in the game, and it's so powerful. Then I'll say the third one is going to be messaging. Even though you're selling online, I don't care if it's a product or a service, or really it's going to be product or service you can sell online, right? You need to have the right messaging. The right message in terms of the story behind it. I've learned that people don't necessarily buy great products or services, but they buy great products and services with a story. So that means your why. For example, why are you starting your podcasting show? Why is that so important to you? Why are you starting your e-commerce business? Why is that so important to you? Why are you starting your SaaS platform? Why is that so important to you? Why are you starting your coaching business, online courses, credit repair, tax business? Doesn't matter whatever kind of online business you do, right? When you share your story, and this is one of the things that's really missing out there, because a lot of people, when they teach about 5 keys to this or that or online business, it's always like, do this and do that and do that and the other. But many times, if you don't get this foundational stuff right, it doesn't really work. The best products never win. It's the best stories win because people are emotional. People are emotional being. They buy, in an emotional way. So they want to be connected with your story. And that's one of the things I missed initially when I first started my online businesses, because I was dealing with a lot of insecurity and low self-esteem, partly because of my accent. I felt like people could not really understand my accent well. So I was shy. I didn't want to talk in public. I didn't want to at businesses, and I wasn't the face of my businesses because I felt like it would be a negative to me being an African American in SARS, immigrant, all this stuff, right? And it really affected my online business and my sales. But when I began to work on my mindset, point number 2, get a mentor, I started hiring mentors and coaches to help me. Then I began to get more confident. And then I began to see my business began to grow. And people started coming to me and be like, hey, I like your story. Your story is inspirational. So what I thought was a negative became one of the reasons, my posse became one of the reasons why people were connecting to me. So messaging is very, very, very key. Then key number 4 will be the marketing. And when it comes to marketing, I mean your pricing, your strategy, your go-to-market strategy, right? Many times people underprice, partly also too because of low confidence. If you don't mind, Sarah, I probably might make it 6. I'm going to give a bonus 6 because something just came to my mind that I felt was so important that I feel people need to know. And that's going to kind of tie everything together. So your pricing, you don't want to overprice, but you don't want to underprice. And when it comes to pricing, there's no I don't care what any guru says. There's no bullet, simple bullet formula. You got to test it. You got to try different pricing. If you don't know where to start, I would suggest go with your gut feeling. And your customers will tell you if it's too high or too low. If you go with your gut feeling like it's too high, then it's too high. It's too low, then maybe it's too low, right? Go with your gut feeling, but not just put something out there. Research the top 3 competitors in that field. What are they charging, right? That's how I've started everything. The only business I did not copy the model was Thumbtack, because Thumbtack was selling by leads and I wanted to be different. That's another way to price too. You can try to go a different route, a different revenue model compared to what your top competitor is doing. So kind of bring some contrast between your business and their business, right? But all the other ones, like the SaaS company, we just study the top 3 in the field and try to kind of be somewhere in between there, and then just kind of listen to the customers, listen to the market, see what's going on, look at the metrics, and then just begin to adjust from there. For any new business, depending on who is listening and what kind of business you do, it might take you at least 2 years to get to what I would call a rev pricing maturity, where you really know what to charge per your service. But sadly, a lot of people just starting out their online business, they charge too low. They charge too low. So make sure your pricing, your marketing, your strategy is on point. There's some other keys too when it comes to marketing. If you don't have a lot of money, you can always start with word of mouth, organic. One of the things that is really discouraging a lot of people today from online business is because they feel like you have to spend tons of money in ads and Facebook ads, Instagram ads and stuff, which is good. But what about if you don't? You can always start with the word of mouth. So I said, I'm going to give your listeners a good bonus. This is where you start. You take your phone. On average, every adult has at least 500 contacts, except except they don't like people at all and they just delete people all the time from their phone. But if you're at least 21 years old and you have had a phone for 3 years, you probably have fairly normal, at least 500 contacts on your phone. That is where you start from. Your first 10 customers are always going to come from people that already know you, like you, or trust you. Your first 10 customers are going to be people that already like you, know you, or trust you. If your product is priced fairly good, you should have enough margin from your first 10, 20 customers, which is all organic, that you cannot invest into ads and partnerships and some other fancy stuff. But start with people you already know. And if anything you're going to offer, if you cannot easily think of 10 people in your phone book that will buy it, it's probably not something you should do. Because the first proof of concept is going to come from people that already know you. They know you, they like you, they trust you. And if they're not going to buy your stuff, then you probably should not even try it. Because if they don't buy it, then strangers are not going to buy it. They say charity begins at home. So people that know you, they are going to be the first tasters of how good your stuff is. And then that gives you some feedback that you can also use to make your thing better. So that's first. Let me recap. Number 1, you need mantra. What problem you solving? Number 2, get a coach, get a mentor, get into some mastermind, find somebody that is qualified to help you. Number 3, you need the right messaging. You need a story. Make it, at least most businesses, there's an advantage when you make it personal. If you're going to be into e-commerce, wear your own clothes, be your own model. Then number 4, the pricing. Have the right pricing for your business, because if you on the price, you're going to be out of business so quickly. The 5th one is that I call it manifesto. you need a platform. And that's where a platform like Vonza, it might sound like a shameless plug, but really it's not. You can use some other ones depending on what kind of business you do. But I can only tell you the one I used and I recommend. It's Vonza.com. And what is Vonza? Is the only one platform that helps an entrepreneur to run their business in one place. And I feel like the problem now is that people have been used to doing business online a certain way for years, which is the more platforms you have, the better I seem it is. The more tools you have, the more you can brag on how of a dope online entrepreneur you are. So people brag on that. I use Shopify for e-commerce. I use Kajabi for courses. I use Teachable for this. I use Zapier to tie them together. I use WordPress for my website. I use Community for text messaging. But just brag about it like that's like 2000s. That's the old school way. You're still using BlackBerry when we're trying to tell you about the iPhone, the BlackBerry, but when you want to go on a road trip, you have to get a GPS. You need something for your heart monitor. You have all these different things you have to have. But the iPhone got a GPS, got a phone, got a social media, got everything. Well, people are so used to BlackBerry and they like, at the time, BlackBerry used to be called Crackberry because people got so addicted to BlackBerry. It was like Crackberry, right? And we're trying to tell people that iPhone is a lot better than BlackBerry. But like, no, I'm so used to punching my data and all this stuff. The wave of the future is going to be all in one platforms. And whoever does it best is going to win because more and more people are going to get tired of needing tools and teams and developers and Zapier and logging into multiple places and saving several multiple passwords instead of just one. So Vonza just makes it easy, especially if you're just starting out, to really run all your entire business in one place. So that's the platform. Then the sixth one I'm going to give as a bonus that ties it all together. This is so key, is mindset. The wrong mindset will always keep anybody broke. No matter how good your product or service is, if you have those limiting beliefs in your mindset, it will never do well. So, mindset is the sixth bonus key to help anybody easily start and grow an online business. Now, and I'm speaking in generalities because I don't know what particular online business that person is doing, if it's e-commerce or this or that. I can give strategies to individual ones because I've been around online business for like 20 years now. I'm just speaking generalities. But now, if you're trying to do e-commerce, you're trying to do courses or coaching or tax preparation or credit repair or whatever type of online business, okay, then I could get more specific. But before you get those specifics, before they work, these six M keys are the basics. The mindset is the key. You cannot go where your mind has not gone. You cannot go where your mind cannot take you. If you don't grow your mind, you cannot grow your income. Until you grow your mind, you cannot grow your income. And somebody said that before you build he said a mindset before skill set. Mindset before skill set. Don't worry so much about your skill set if you've not first built your mindset. Fundamental keys that will help anybody grow from zero to building 6 or 7 figures online.
I love that. And I love that they all start with the same letter, M. It makes it easier to remember. Wow, those are good nuggets. I love that. How did you bootstrap from 100 to 7 figures? You kind of developed these 6 core things and implemented them. And then, so like you reached out to people you already knew and then you kind of grew from there.
It wasn't a straight road. It wasn't like a upward climb. No, there were some bumps here and there. I failed in over 13 businesses before I made my first $100,000. So I just knew entrepreneurship was my thing, but I didn't know exactly which one was going to pay the bills. So I just kept trying. And this is like a journey of maybe 20 years, going to 20 years now. So I just kept trying different things. So I started from a website like $400. My goal, Sarah, was that if I can get 10 people pay me $400 a month to be the website and I can make $4,000 a month, I'll be very wealthy. My biggest biggest dream in life was to be able to make $40,000 a year. So it started there. Of course, I was not really able to hit those 10 targets at the time, but I just kept trying. So went from website. I saw that website was not going to be my thing because I wasn't getting the clientele. Then I moved from there, from the little money I made from my website business, went into photography and then videography. Then I had the studio. I did that for a while. From there, I started just so you can see it's $100. Got homeless, got my first $400 client, got my second $400 client, probably did like $2,000. Then from that $2,000, and squatting with a friend, invested that $2,000 into a camera. Now I can charge like $2,000 to $5,000 for a wedding, for photography and videography. Then from there, save, be frugal. Right? That's another key too. That it's not an F word, so I can't really, so it's not an M word, so I can't really find something in it so far. But frugal was one of the things that helped me. So I was very, very frugal. I never went on vacation. I never did things I couldn't afford. A lot of people, they overspend and they overspend their investment money. So I saved. I went without many essentials in life so I can reinvest my money into the next thing, into the next thing, into the next thing before I now kind of got to where I got to today. So some bumps, a lot of bumps along the road.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's kind of, I started a photography business. That was my first business. And then, yeah, I like how you start on a bootstrap budget, you make a little money, then take that money to invest, or like what you did, once you got the 2000 or so from the website clients, then you could invest in a camera to where you could charge 2000 a client probably. And then you just kind of keep building. I love that. I know another thing that you do is you help people build 5 to 6 figure launches. What are the keys, I guess, to having a successful launch?
Awesome. So I also just released my signature program. If anybody would care to check it out, they can go to getonlinebusiness.com. And so what I do at getonlinebusiness.com is to help people to launch 5-figure program, right? And really 2 or 3 out of these 6 is what I use. So the first strategy is the problem, right? I help them figure out the right problem to solve, because there is a $20 problem and there's a $2,000 problem. If you solve a $20 problem, you get paid $20. You can do, it's hard to do a $10,000, which is 5-figure launches that I'm very good at. So I help my clients come up with a launch offer to solve a problem that can easily sell anywhere from $497 all the way to $2,000. But the sweet spot is always that $997, because then they only need 10 clients at $997 to do a $10,000 5-figure launch. So the first thing is the mantra, helping them come up with a problem they should solve that would be more appealing to people at that price point. Then the second thing is the marketing. So the pricing, okay, this is the right way to price that. Then I think the third thing is really just that mindset. Because if somebody don't believe that people are going to buy their stuff for $497 or $997, there's no way they're going to make that 5-figure launch. So I also help with that mindset, breaking those limiting beliefs so that they can see that it's possible. And when they get that right and they have the right product, course, or service, and the right messaging, the right story, and solves the right problem, it always just works. Then the same strategy too with reaching out to people that they already know, through their phone, their social media, DMing people, all of that together, trying to get as many people as possible to come into that launch. And it always works. And also to another thing too is I also teach them to get people at that point get some interest before the launch, because you don't want to just bank on people just showing up on that launch day to buy. Try to get at least 3 to 5 people that are already interested that will buy on that launch day. So when we put all these strategies together, we've always hit those 5-figure, $10,000 goals.
I love that you mentioned there could be a $20 solution or a $2,000 solution, and to focus on the 2000. Like when I was in photography, for example, I was doing a lot of portraits, but then I started getting into weddings, which is like 10 times the income. So yeah, focus on the higher dollar solution. Also on your website, I saw something about the 3 C's of marketing, and I'm curious what that is.
So the 3 C's of marketing, number 1 is confidence. So you got to be confident in what you're providing, If you be like, yeah, I think you should buy my stuff, but I'm not really, when you don't sound confident, right? People are not going to take you seriously. So confidence is really key. The number two is consistency. There are people, they find it difficult to promote themselves all the time. They feel like, oh, I don't want to offend people if I promote my stuff all the time. But I'm like, but billion-dollar brands, they promote all the time. They're not worried about offending nobody. Coca-Cola promotes every day. McDonald's promotes every day. Chick-fil-A, their billboards are everywhere. They never take a day off from promoting. So why should you? So you gotta be consistent. Okay, so you have to have, third thing is the character. People are going to buy because they feel connected to you and who you are. So you gotta be authentic. You can't be who you are not. If you're trying to market in a way that is different from who your core is as a person and your character, it doesn't always work well. And these are some of the fundamentals that I feel like a lot of people are missing. People are always looking for the magic bullet, the secret formula, a magic wand. There might be some, but really, if you take care of the fundamentals, and this is what I teach my clients to, if you take care of the fundamentals, right, then the rest is just going to be easy for you to do.
I agree with that for sure. So earlier you were talking about your SaaS platform, Vonza, and how it solves a problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have. And I know I've had this problem before where you're juggling a bunch of different software platforms, whereas your platform, it's kind of an all-in-one. So I guess you got that idea from probably having to juggle a bunch of platforms. And then we're like, why
Yeah.
doesn't something exist an all-in-one platform? So what was that process like starting that business and growing it to seven figures? And then what all services does it include that you can then eliminate 20 other platforms basically?
So it started because, I was just frustrated with having using multiple plugins and Zapier and developers and teams and multiple software, multiple logins, passwords. It's just overwhelming. I'm like, business should be simple. Online business should be easy. It shouldn't require all of this. I have to learn 12 different platforms instead of just learning one and just be able to do everything. And so that frustration just led me to start talking to other entrepreneurs, and everybody was like, they got the same problem as well. But they're just not a good all-in-one solution that they can trust that can really help them with their online business. So I'm not a very good developer. I do a little bit here and there. So I just set out to build a team. So I try to find the best team I could that could build the dream I had to build the best all-in-one, the best and the most easy and the most simple all-in-one platform there is on the planet. And that led me to putting teams together. And the first team scammed me. They couldn't they were in different countries. Because it's bootstrapped, getting engineers in America is very expensive. So I had to go overseas to try to build engineering team over there. So the first team, they ran away with my money, didn't do a good job. And I kind of got discouraged. I knew the problem was, I still had the problem, and the problem still needs to be solved. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they need that problem to be solved as well. So I just had to persevere and just continue trying to look for the right team until I was able to get the right team that has been with me from day one today. So the process is just really putting that team together, listening to the customers, seeing what's out there, and just trying to, one of our biggest goal every single day. In fact, after this recording today, I'm having a meeting with my engineers. We're always asking ourselves, how can we make it easier to use? How can we make it simpler to use? How can we make it make more sense? Always trying to make it better. So Vonza replaces the need for over 12 to 14 different tools. For example, with Vonza, you can build a beautiful website. So you will not need Wix or WordPress or Squarespace. With Vonza, you can create, market, and sell beautiful online courses. So you will not need Kajabi or Teachable or Thinkific. With Vonza, you can sell physical products. So you don't need WooCommerce or Shopify. With Vonza, you can sell digital products. So you will not need SamScott, Kajabi, and the rest of them, Selfie, the rest of them. With Vonza, you can create beautiful forms, and you can create a form just for survey or a form or a payment form, like an invoice and payment form. So you can take payment with your form. So you will not need Google Forms. I think Google Forms is only, you cannot take payment with Google Forms. And so, but you won't need Google Forms, you won't need Jot Forms, Type Form, all those other forms, right? We also have meetings, kind of is a scheduling tool. So you will not need Calendly, you will not need the rest of the scheduling tools out there. Also, we have a feature we're working on now, which is going to be live videos. So when that's launched, you will not need Zoom because you just do everything in Vonza. So a live video is coming. We also have SMS, text messaging. So you will not need community and the rest of them. What else do we offer? Then we're also working on the CRM as well. So when that's out, you will not need Close.io, you will not need Salesforce, you will not need HubSpot. So those are some stuff we have. So we're trying to build a real ecosystem around Vonza so that most of the tools entrepreneurs need can be found on Vonza. But if you want to just use one of what we have and still use some other stuff, we're still going to be able to integrate with other platforms. But if you just like the ecosystem because the symmetry, the thought pattern is very similar, then it's an all-in-one platform.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was checking it out and I was like, oh, wow, it can do everything. So
Yeah,
it saves people time because and
yeah.
frustration because they don't have to log into a million different things. But it also saves money too because it starts at $79 a month. Yeah.
79, yeah. That's a 79.
Yeah, for all of those tools. And so that definitely saves money as well. Wow, that's awesome. And you also have a book, right, called Online Business Secrets, The Underground Playbook to Take Your Online Business to Seven Figures Online, even if you have no followers, funding, or fame. That's an awesome title. I love that. I need to read that.
Thank you. So it's a great book. He also talks about my journey. I'm very, very biased towards people who are just starting out, because I knew, not biased against them, but biased for, because I knew how difficult it was for me starting out and not having the mentorship, not having the money. I mean, Sarah, nobody wanted to give me funding for anything I've done, even with Vonza today. That's one of the reasons why we still bootstrap. So if you know some people with some big pocket, please connect them, because I really think we could do well with some funding to really grow faster. So I've always had to try to figure it out my own way, and sometimes the most difficult way. So I wrote the book to help people to easily start and grow a seven figure. And I like the seven figure stuff. I know a lot of people talk about six figures, six figure. Really, to me, if you're making six figures, there's so much you really can do. I spend six figures just paying my staff, my engineers. I spend over six figures a year. So how can I live on six figures, right? So when you're living on six figures, there's still a lot of limitations of what you can do in life. But seven figures is really where financial independence really starts if you want to do big things, right? So that's the reason for the book. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to add that to my Amazon cart as soon as we're done here. All right. Well, I will have actually links to the book, to Vonza, to your website, to everything on the show notes, which will be at thesarahstjohn.com/Uyi. And that's spelled UYI. And then I know people can find you at
GetOnlineBusiness.com.
Well, I appreciate your time today. And was there anything else that you wanted to discuss or touch on before we end?
Sarah, you are amazing. Your podcast is amazing. Your personality is amazing. I've followed you for a while and I've been looking forward to this. And you are such an inspiration. And I just want to say, please keep up the good work you're doing. You're touching lives. You are imparting people that you don't even know of yet. And I was one of those people that was just really checking you out and see what you're doing. And you didn't even know that I was just like really inspired by the things you were doing. Then also too for the listeners too, I just want to tell them to not stop. Just don't stop. It's okay for you to give up. It's okay for you to be tired. It's okay for you to be discouraged. It's okay for you to feel like nobody's buying your product or your service. It's okay for you to feel like you've been ignored or overlooked. It's okay. It's all okay. But what is not okay is for you to stop. Don't stop, because I failed multiple times and I would not be where I am today if I stopped. If I just gave up and go get a job, I probably would have been making maybe 15 or $16 an hour right now. But don't stop. Just keep going, keep walking, keep learning, and keep getting better. And one day you're going to achieve your dream in entrepreneurship.
Oh, that's good advice. I agree with that. I think it's normal and common for entrepreneurs to struggle and to fail and have failed businesses before they finally find that thing that takes off, and it can take years. So I definitely
Yeah.
agree with that, and I've experienced that myself. And also, thank you for the kind words. I didn't even know that you were listening to my podcasts and following me and all that, so that's encouraging. I appreciate it. And you said I'm an inspiration, but you're the inspiration for me, so that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciated it. And again, the show notes with the links to everything will be at thesarahstjohn.com/UYI. People can find you also at vonza.com and getonlinebusiness.com. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it.
If you enjoyed and found value from this episode, I'd greatly appreciate it if you rate, review, subscribe, and share at ratethispodcast.com/frugalpreneur. Until next time.